All right, we're live. Welcome to Beanball, episode 9. I can't believe we're already at episode 9.
9 weeks,
And
bro. Wow.
and the Red Sox are 10-10. I don't. It's every other day is, wow, they're really better than we thought, or oh man, they're the worst team in baseball.
They're the worst team in baseball. I'm gonna go with that end.
I'm still leaning that way, man. I'm still leaning that way. It's today was a bummer. I got to listen to most on the radio because I was working and driving around a bit, so I didn't get to watch the whole thing. But it sounded like more terrible defense, just more guys that cannot hit major league pitching. Rafael Cedeno doesn't, he can't hit in the pros right now. He's not ready for it, and I called that last year and over the winter and in the spring. But he's great defensively, so I guess if he was the only one that wasn't hitting, you'd be okay with his defense, being the way it is. But yeah, he's not hitting. Abreu's not hitting. Valdez is really not hitting.
Abreu batted third today,
Which is wild. I mean, so explain to me. Tyler O'Neill got assaulted by our idiot third baseman the other day, who headbutted him, cut his head open, and he left the game and was initially, Cora said that there was no concussion and that he'd be back in the lineup today. So after he'd take 2 days off and be back in the lineup.
correct.
And then all of a sudden this morning, he has a concussion. He's going on the 7-day IL. Meanwhile, Devers is getting an MRI. He's got the hurt knee, the hurt shoulder, and he's not put on the IL. So I'm wondering if, obviously with two guys on the shelf, they needed to bring bodies up and activate Ref Schneider. I wonder if O'Neill kind of went on the IL because Devers didn't want to or refused to, or you know what I mean, to kind of protect Devers a little bit, which seems silly. If he's hurt, he should sit out and get healthy.
Well, is
no
he
point.
hurt, or is his pride hurt, or is his psyche hurt? I mean, he's batting like 170, 175.
Yeah, I got it right here. Actually, I get the stats all ready tonight, ready to go. He is hitting mother of pearl, 188. Yeah, not great. I mean, the whole lineup's hitting 200 or less, really, except for McGuire and Duran's been. Yeah,
MVP.
I'll give you some credit. He's having a really good season offensively. He's still doing stupid shit. He's still caught stealing the other night when he should have been stealing anyways, and then stole after the ball hit the dirt, but it didn't get far enough away, and he's thrown out easily. He's doing stupid shit like that too often.
So here's my take on my MVP of the team so far. He's a very talented athlete whose baseball acumen is extremely limited.
Yep.
That makes
wild.
sense?
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I was sitting here with my baseball IQ going, all right, he's going on this pitch because we need an insurance run. And then he doesn't, and then he does, and it's just like, oh, come on, dude, what are you doing? You got to know when to go. And but I'll tell you right now, he is not the MVP so far.
Oh, really?
Hunter Crawford, man, he's only allowed one earned run in 4 starts.
Okay, listen, you're entitled to your opinion.
Cutter Crawford, are you a believer in ERA plus or OPS plus?
I am a believer in innings pitched, strikeout to walk ratio, and how many games do you leave with your team winning?
Fair enough. Well, his strikeouts to walk ratio isn't great. It's 3.
No, but it's not. But it's not terrible either. I mean,
no, it's not. It's not terrible. It's not Houck's, which is 14, which is absurd. He's only walked 2 people all year. But I like ERA plus. It's one of the nerd stats that I kind of feel like is an accurate portrayal of how a player's season's going, with 100 representing the average player in the league today. Not some hypothetical replacement player or anything like that. And so, if you get a 150 ERA plus or a 150 OPS plus, you're having a pretty good season. Crawford's ERA plus right now is infinite. It's 9.99. It doesn't fit on Baseball Reference, so they only go as high as 9.99, which is insane. He's got a .42 ERA, 21.1 innings pitched, 9 hits, 1 earned run, and 2 runs allowed, 8 walks and 24 strikeouts. I mean, he's been great, and so is Houck's 1.35 ERA. The 14 strikeout to walk ratio is wild. 3.11 ERA plus. I mean, 200 would be wildly good, and he's at 3.11, and Crawford's at 9.99. So
that just
those
goes to show you that formula is completely flawed.
Oh, I mean, how is it flawed? He's had 4 starts and he's allowed 1 run.
Over a short period of time, it obviously can make
of course. I mean, that's going to level out. But if he's even a fraction this good, the rest of the season, you've got 2 guys. If either one of these guys is this good the rest of the season, you get 2 guys that might prove to be legit rotation pieces. I mean, first of all, I was stunned they allowed Houck to go 9 innings the other night.
Well, he first of all, they needed him to.
Yeah, that's true. The bullpen was shot to shit.
Second of all, he had only thrown like 84 pitches through 8 innings.
Yeah, but still, I mean, he doesn't often go above 80 pitches. So I was just surprised. I was surprised in 2024 that they let the kid who's never done that do that. So it was great. It was a really, really amazing outing. Of course, everyone, wants to take a victory lap because Tanner Houck is, reincarnation of Steve Carlton or whatever.
Right.
We'll see. We'll see how the kid bounces back. He had a terrible start at the previous start, and he's been up and down and up and down and up and down for 2 years now.
But if you look, they haven't played anybody.
No, they really haven't. No good offenses, anyways, except for the Orioles, who swept them.
And they got swept at home.
Yeah.
And the Orioles weren't in midseason form either.
No. So the Angels lineup is very weak, except for Trout, and your boy Shannywell kind of stinks. And
he's got screwed with that base hit taken away, and he's completely sideways because of it.
Because of 1 hit, yeah, definitely.
Well, he had a 34-game on-base streak taken away.
That's true.
Post-game.
So the Angels, who we played 6 times already, their lineup stinks. The Guardians lineup stinks. The A's lineup stinks. So we haven't faced a real lineup yet. So we'll definitely see these pitching numbers come down for sure. And I still don't think this is a 500 team. I don't see how it could be, especially if O'Neill has any lingering effects of a concussion, or Devers, his shoulder or his knee is really bothering him for an extended period. Who in this lineup aside from Cassis, who and I love Cassis. He's a good player. He's hitting 246.
Man, does he take too many pitches?
Yeah, he loves seeing pitches. He's the smartest guy in the field. He's smarter than the umps. He's smarter than the coaches.
He's smarter than the historians who measure the distance from home plate to a certain
I saw that. Yeah, I mean,
read your room, pal. Read your room. You've been here for 30 seconds.
Yeah, that was a weird flex. Like
he's going to rub the fan base here the wrong way as he gets going. The more he speaks and the more he's playing, I think that the fan base is going to, except for the Cassis fanboys, the majority of the fan base will grow tired of his act real quickly. And I do believe one of the reasons why he has not been signed to an extension is because they're going to wait this out a little bit with him, because his act is going to get tired real quick, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think we saw that already last year with the painting the fingernails and the shirtless yoga and the just weird things he does in the clubhouse. He knows more than everybody for sure. I haven't liked the kid since he came up. Honestly, I thought he was a weirdo all along.
Well, anytime you go and you get a dust up with your best players, the Bogarts in the locker room. That's not a good sign
when you're 22 years old or whatever he was at the time. So it's not a good sign. And he's if he's your only guy in the lineup that can hit, you're in big trouble. And he's going to get really frustrated if he's getting no one protecting him, and he's going to be hitting 210 because he's getting really pitched to. He's only seeing sliders, and his seasons, his numbers aren't where he thinks they should be, and he's not going to get the money that he wants to get down the road because this team hasn't put any players around him. And I see him definitely being a problem personality-wise. But I didn't think we were going to go there today. But but so far Duran's been the offensive MVP. You nailed that one. He's so bad defensively. What'd you think about? Well, I mean, so they put Raphael at shortstop for a game, and everyone thought that was it. He's the shortstop now. I guess not the case.
I did not understand that move. Either make the move,
do it or don't. Yeah, it's a strange thing, especially for a kid who's struggling to hit the ball. And we know that hitting a baseball it's just so mental, like it's all about confidence. And if you're in center field and you're doing really well, that's a confidence builder when you go to the plate. It's less stress during the game. It's something you're not worried about. When you have to switch to shortstop and switch back and forth, that adds stress to a kid who's already stressed out at the plate.
Jimmy,
so I can't.
Let's talk about this for a second, right?
Yeah.
You and I spoke on this in one of our first episodes during the end of spring training, how there was going to be a massive letdown after the season started because these pitchers were pitching to Rafaela based on the count and not the score, or not based on a book of work that that these pitching coaches and advanced scouting departments have worked up on a guy like Sedano, who's only been in the league for 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. So now there's a book, a small sample size, but it's still a book of 20 games. And these advanced scouts know what they're doing. The other reason those guys make the most money in the scouting department are these advanced big league scouts. And you know what? It's slider away, slider away, slider away. And
he will chase.
Away on first pitch. He's a chaser, and he honestly, I said it. I think you said it too. He was better off starting the year in AAA, gating to May 15th, and then saving an extra year of his time. And we burned it. 20 games he's lost, and you gave him a $60 million contract for nothing.
Yeah, no, that contract is looking wilder by the minute, quite honestly. This kid has only walked 3 times this year so far. I mean, his on base percentage is .259.
Right. The walks I'm okay with, right, because he's a free swinger, but he's not getting on base. He's not hitting.
Yeah, he's not doing enough. And he's the type of kid who, even if he was making some contact, weak ground balls, he'd be getting some infield hits because he's that fast. He's not even doing that right now.
He's not putting the ball in play.
Yeah, it's atrocious. So
he
should be in AAA right now, and it's too bad that this organization just couldn't bring in some veterans and let these kids finish developing. And it's too bad. It's going to hurt him. It's going to hurt him in the long run too. Even 2 years from now, his confidence might be shot forever. Like Bobby Dahlbeck or Craig Hansen or Daniel Bard, name the guys that we've destroyed over the years.
Who was the guy from Cuba that Dombrowski signed?
Rusney Castillo.
Rusney Castillo. There you go.
$72 million.
But Rusney Castillo should have been in the big leagues.
Yeah. So the only reason he wasn't was because they didn't want his contract to be on the books.
Correct.
Because it was too much, and he wasn't the power hitter that they thought they were getting. He could have been a good fourth outfielder with some speed, play some decent defense. He could have made a nice major league career for himself, but he got way overpaid way too soon, and they couldn't put at the time $11 million on the books was too much. So yeah, he got screwed. But he was driving Lamborghinis to Pawtucket Red Sox games.
So that's my whole point is with Rafael. I hope that this is not another Rusney Castillo.
Yeah, we don't know, but right now it's not looking good, and he'd be better served. But at the same time, so we sent him down to Worcester today, who the fuck is taking his place?
Who you mean, Rafaela?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not never going down.
No, I know. I understand that, but he should. If they had a veteran, if they had, some Tommy Pham type that they had stashed away in Worcester, they could let him go down and get his confidence back up. But they don't even have that. They have nothing in Worcester. It's not great.
Well, there's all this talk now that Anthony's off to a good start in AA. Let's just bring him up and burn a year of his eligibility too. And I'm getting, I can't say tired of it, but because I don't know these people, but Red Sox Twitter is out of control with these minor leaguers, and bring them up. And I'm as big a fan as Marcelo Meyer as there is on the planet for the future of this team. But he's off to a great start, which I expected because he's healthy. But
it's been like 8 games.
He's nowhere near being ready to play the shortstop for the Red Sox, even on a bad team. So just you either got to find somebody else or bite the bullet and put David Hamilton out there for the rest of the year and see the movies.
He's
a matador.
He's out there doing prayers like, please don't hit it to me.
Yeah,
which is wild.
He's got the rosary beads in his back pocket.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't that bad defensively last year. I think right now it's just in his head. So he's got the yips or whatever. Go ahead. Sorry.
My brother texted me last night or the night before, and he said, "Who's this matador playing shortstop?"
Yeah, not Ole. Yeah, it's not pretty. And all of a sudden, Reyes can't play defense. He's made a bunch of bad errors. And the whole reason he was here was to play defense. But
he's playing third base. He was awful at third base today.
Oh, terrible. Yeah, did he have another one today?
He did. He threw a ball away on a two-hopper. He threw off the wrong foot.
Yeah.
He had plenty of time. Threw the ball away. And, I'm not going to blame Cassis, but Cassis has got to learn to either come off the base and block these balls.
Yeah.
Because that ball he had no chance to get that ball. And had he come off the base, he certainly could have blocked it as big as he is. But that was an awful throw. I mean, it was terrible. It ended up.
Yeah, people don't realize how bad Cassis is defensively. His footwork is atrocious.
He's worse than Devers is at third base.
Yeah, and it's not that he can't catch a ground ball. It's that his footwork sucks, and he's not saving any bad plays, and he's not making any tough plays, and he's throwing the ball where it doesn't need to go, and he's not a first baseman. He's a DH. But
I will, I hate these formulas, but I want to see his defensive run saved to first base at the end of the year.
Oh, it's going to be atrocious.
It's going to be in the negative by a lot.
Yeah.
And for a first baseman, that's almost impossible.
I got into some Twitter beef this week. Someone tweeted out, "Can't we just admit that Cassis is better than Vlad Guerrero Jr.?"
Oh, I saw you.
Yeah. So I responded, I think we can argue that he's as good as Vlad Guerrero Jr. And I said, but that doesn't even matter because neither one of them is a top 10 first baseman in Major League Baseball. And they're not. Neither one is.
Certainly.
Maybe Vlad, but certainly not Cassis.
No.
I rattled off 10 easily that I would rather have as my first baseman today, and then I got a whole bunch of flack. Are you high? So I put Cronenworth up there, who every single night I watch the Padres because they're on late night, so I watch a lot of D-backs and Padres games. Every night he's making like some amazing play that I've never seen a first baseman make before.
Well, he's in middle infield playing first base.
Exactly. He's a stud defensively. And then he's like one of the best offensive players in baseball right now. And that's not going to last. But if I had to have a first baseman on this team today, it's Cronenworth all day.
Massive upgrade.
Yeah, he's a leader. His teammates love him. And he can match too. I mean, he's a really good player. So, and people were jumping down my throat, like, "Are you high?" Like, I'm like, "Come on." And then Spencer Steer was another one, who again, elite defensive first baseman, who has the same exact power numbers as Cassis, with 20 points higher average. He's a better first baseman than Cassis, and people thought I was out of my mind.
Well, when you're dealing with Boston people about Boston sports,
yeah,
and specifically Red Sox people, and more specifically pink hat Red Sox people.
It's wild.
It's nuts. It's like you've castrated a mom's kid athletically in front of her.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's wild.
And back to Spencer Steer real quick. Not only is he, so one of the arguments was, well, he's not even a first baseman, even though he plays more than half of his games at first base. I retorted, hey, I hate when my first basemen play elite first base and then could also play second base, shortstop, left field, right field, and steal 20 bases. Like, wouldn't you want that? I mean, Cassis he's slow as shit. He keeps making base running mistakes too.
He's a terrible base runner. He's a 1.5 tool player.
Yeah. Yeah,
he's
basically.
no power. If he gets zapped of his power, he's instantly
nothing.
He's a as my grandfather would say, the
he's
world needs bartenders.
Yeah, he's Bobby Dahlbeck if he doesn't go through these home run bursts.
Bobby Dahlbeck is a significantly better third baseman than
Cassis is a first baseman, but they're similar at first base.
Yes, they are.
In Cassis' power too. I mean, he hit 28 home runs last year. He's not a world beater power wise, and it all comes in streaks. It's like, you get 5 in a week, and then he doesn't get one for 2 weeks. So
yeah, I don't need the streaky guys. I need guys that'll be just consistent.
Every day.
I don't need guys to hit the red seat out in right field once every 4 years. I need guys to hit 1 home run a week for 28 weeks.
I want guys to hit 280 and get on base at like a 320, 330 clip. That's what I want. Base runners. I want something exciting going on in the base pass.
That's Hall of Fame numbers, bro. No one's gonna do that anymore.
280. I mean, Jesus Christ. What are we? I don't think that's asking too much, is it?
It's not. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And you know what? Once this cycle of baseball's over with, and it's only going to take one team, like the A's did with this Moneyball thing, to have a good year or two with their philosophy, and it's only going to take one team, whether it's the Yankees or the Cubs or the Brewers, who I really think is going to be a team that's going to may start to go back to the old way of thinking and steal bases and hit home runs. You're going to see more teams start to follow suit again.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more bunting this year.
Did the music just get turned way up?
No. You know what? You know what's wicked funny? I forgot that it was on.
Do you have porn on?
No. It's called Lo-Fi. It's Chris made these tracks himself. I think he's a musician, so you can't use real songs, otherwise you got to pay money for it. And
right.
Just turned it off. So I think he actually made all these songs himself.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It
just got loud for a second. That's all.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was on. Honestly, thank you for that. I would have left it on the entire fucking time. But know who's really getting off the hook with how bad the team's been and how bad some people have been? It's fucking Yoshida.
Oh.
He is dog shit, and he's got 14 hits on the year, 12 singles.
He's a Punch and Judy hitter. He's a pool hall. My dad used to call them pool hall hitters. They bring their cue stick, and they hit the ball over the second baseman's head with topspin.
And there's room in baseball for players like that if they can play defense and have speed. He's just a fucking liability wherever he is.
So, think about this, right? And this is how bad or how down they are on him. O'Neill went on the IL today. Devers couldn't play. And Yoshida, I call him Sadahara Yoshida, was off yesterday. And they still didn't play today. And they batted Abreu third, who's hitting $167.
Yoshida wasn't in the lineup today?
No, didn't play.
Jesus Christ. I didn't even notice.
Did not
That's
play.
The thing. He's totally off the hook because he's just good enough that he's like the 4th or 5th person you complain about in the lineup. So he's kind of off the hook for me anyways.
Well, who's off the hook with him is Breslow because he didn't sign him.
Yeah, Breslow that's not my problem. So they'll bench him, I guess. It looks like they are benching him. That's crazy.
They'll trade him. They'll trade him to a Kansas City or the Mets or
eat some money,
wherever.
Get nothing back.
Vogelbach goes and fields next, maybe it's the Blue Jays and the Red Sox trade him to the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to that anyways, so I don't have to watch him anymore because he is painful to watch play baseball.
So what was that deal? That deal was like a 5-year, 60.
5-year, 96.
Did that include the posting money?
No, another $10 million on top of that.
Wow. So it was 5 years, 90. So basically 110 million for that guy.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, that's not like by today's standards, it's not like going to kill you. But for a team trying to be budget conscious, that's, I mean, a 200 hitter that can't do anything else except for hit a few singles is like, he's got a 215 batting average, and he's walked 5 times this year. He doesn't even get on base.
Think of some guys around the Major League Baseball who you would not give $20 million to because they stink, and compare him to Sadaharu Yoshida.
Yeah, no, he's not worth $20 million. He's worth
5.
3. Yeah, he's not worth much. That's a terrible contract, and that was an overreaction to fans being upset with ownership for not spending, and these guys were going to go and make one splash to make everybody happy, and big swing and a miss. They didn't do their homework on the guy.
They did a cannonball in the shallow end of the pool.
Yep, not great. So, but pitching, hey, we get the best ERA in baseball.
Starting.
Pitch. I think starting and staff, we have the best ERA in baseball combined. The bullpen ERA is not. It's like the 15th or something like that. But I think combined, we have the best in baseball.
That's unfortunately when you're playing a AAA.
Yeah, pretty bad lineups.
Yeah.
So they have some decisions to make coming up here because they started Bernardino today, which I thought was weird because Criswell got the start last week, and I thought they'd just kind of go with Criswell every 5th day. So they decided not to do that today. They went with the opener, and Criswell pitched 2.1 innings or whatever. So I would put him back in the rotation. Who's starting in the other spot, in Whitlock's spot?
TBD.
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's not Winkowski. He's been absolutely dog shit.
Winkowski should go on the IL, have his surgery on his ankle, and see you next year.
Yeah. His whip is up over 2. And anytime a whip is over 1.3, it's pretty bad. 1.4 is not good.
1.5 people per inning on base.
Yeah, he's up over 2. Kenley's 1.8. Joely fucking Rodriguez 1.5. So the bullpen has some issues. So it's not like you can even do these bullpen days or whatever because you don't really have the guys for that. So
you don't have the starting pitching on the off days of doing bullpen days to get 6 and 7 out of your starters.
Yeah, no.
You caught lightning in a bottle yesterday with Houck. But
yeah, and if you do lean on Bello, Crawford, and Houck to go 6-7 innings every time, they've never done it. So because you've babied them for 3 years now, and they're not stretched out like that, so they can't. They're gonna get hurt if they're asked to do more. So they have to make a move. They have to get a starting pitcher here. Whether it's, I mean, there's no one in the minors. There's nobody in the minors, and Chase Anderson. I think he's probably the best candidate right now to go in the lineup, to go into the rotation rather. And he hasn't been anything special either since he's got a 1 whip, but his ERA, he's 9. He's pitched 9 innings and he's got a 1.08 ERA, so he's been all right. 4 ERA.
Yeah, but he's pitching in certain situations where he has an advantage.
Yeah, he's in a low leverage position. So I don't, but seriously, though, he's got to be the guy that they put. They have to put somebody in that rotation. They can't do 2 bullpen days every trip through. That is it's not sustainable that way. You're going to destroy Houck and Crawford for sure. And Bello hasn't been great. He's been all right, I guess. He's got a 3.92 3.8 strikeout to walk. That's pretty good. 108 ERA plus. Yeah, he's been all right. He's been fine, but he's only pitched 20. Yeah, he's pitched 20 innings in 4 starts.
4 starts, right? Yeah. So
So
he's pitching tomorrow, correct?
yeah, I believe so.
So they're in Pittsburgh this weekend.
Yeah.
It'll be a little more of a test, especially being on the road.
Yeah.
But sometimes the road's good for teams that aren't very good because they don't hear the fans booing the shit out of them the whole, all weekend. So maybe the road's good for the Red Sox this week. And then they go to Cleveland. Like I don't understand the scheduling.
Yeah, it's wild that we're seeing like multiple teams this up. What am I hearing? This dinging in my ear.
Good.
Yeah, no, I heard. Is your cell phone going off? No,
it might have been.
Oh, maybe it was. Okay. So yeah,
won't again if it did. So
yeah, so who's out there though that they can bring in? I mean, they have to bring a body in. They have to bring a veteran. Rich Hill. Where's Rich Hill?
He's in the. He's up in New England Baptist getting his new shoulder or hip or elbow or ankle replaced.
Yeah, he's doing a fucking podcast with Rod Bradford. He's out of it.
He's 50. He's got to be. Rich Hill's got to be like 45 years old.
Yeah. I think he's my age.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm 46.
Well, you threw last night. How do you feel?
I feel good today.
Can you come back Sunday and give us 3 innings of 1-run baseball on Sunday?
No, I cannot. I cannot do that.
Not with that defense, you can't.
Well, I could against the Red Sox lineup.
Well, you're gonna play. No. You're gonna be facing O'Neill Cruz, McCutcheon, and about 6 other guys that can swing the bat a little bit.
Yeah, they're a little better than the Boston Firemen I faced last night. So that was I did. I threw a clean inning though. 3 pop-ups. Second.
Beautiful.
Did the job, man. Yeah. So that was fun. So yeah, if I'm running the team today, I'm putting Criswell and Chase Anderson in the rotation, and I guess you have to bring up that Boozer kid rather from Worcester.
He came up today, right?
Oh no, I don't think so, unless it was after the game.
I thought he came up when they put O'Neill on the DL.
That was Ref Snyder.
It was just Ref Snyder?
Yeah, they brought up Joe Jakes or Jocks.
Joe Jakes, that's what it was.
Yeah, they brought him up, but they sent him back down after the game. So maybe Boozer is coming up. That's a possibility. Or is Dahlbeck on the team right now? Or is he? Maybe he'll come. Oh, he's on the roster right now.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He's still batting 0 for the season.
Well, he's the best third baseman you got right now.
Yeah, but he's batting 0. He's played in 11 games.
I know.
It's has he even been on base yet? Let me see. This will be funny. I love Bobby Dahlbeck. I just want to keep him around now just for laughs. Yeah, 1 walk. So he's his on base percentage is .050. And he's your best third baseman right now.
The good thing is he can only go up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing Blaze Jordan up.
Oh wow, really?
I mean, he's not a major leaguer, but as far as prospects go, he's been around a little bit longer than the really young kids. So it is kind of
put him at third base.
Yeah, I mean he was a third baseman until last year.
Right. There's a reason why he's no longer a third baseman in the Red Sox organization.
Yeah, well, they don't have a third baseman in the organization. They literally don't have a third base prospect in the organization right now. So, but he's been around. It is kind of shit or get off the pot time for him.
How old is he? He's not that old though.
He's not that old, but I think this is like his 5th year in the system. So, he should be in triple. He should have forced his way into AAA at this point. I can look up his age if you want, but it's not that important.
Is he in AA still?
Yeah, he's in AA with batting 5th.
That team's loaded with talent.
Yeah, Baseball America had it as the 2nd best minor league team on all levels. So, because they got they got 3 top 100 prospects batting back to back to back. So they're all doing.
Do they hit 1, 2, 3 in the lineup?
I believe 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah.
I think so. It could be 1-2-3. I think maybe it goes back and forth depending on lefty righty on the mound. Whether or not Anthony is the leadoff. I've definitely seen him lead off. I have to look, but I believe the last time I looked, it was 2-3-4.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, man. So Alex Cora, I mean, has he checked out? Because
the only thing he hasn't done is punch out yet. Is punch out the clock. He's checked out. You didn't see his press conference today? He says that the team defense is very good. They're just not playing well right now.
Okay. That's interesting.
We're like 15% of the season gone, and this is a trend. This is not a trend anymore. This is, it's real. It's actual. They were terrible last year. They've not gotten better. They had the worst defense in all of baseball.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
And that is with Reese McGuire and Connor Wong catching, and they have not done a bad job behind the plate, except
Nope.
Wong's just okay. But they have not made a bunch of errors behind the plate. They have not contributed to the error total that the Red Sox have piled up. And I think they lead the Major League Baseball with 20 errors.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it might be 21 now because I think it was 19 yesterday. So, and they had 2 today. So, yeah, it's not great. And, Wong too. He's had a couple of those fucking catcher interferences, which I swear to God, I might have seen 12 times my entire life until about 3 years ago. And Connor Wong's had multiple in a game twice.
Don't get me started on this whole one knee down thing.
Yeah, we can't go down that road again because I'll lose my fucking mind.
It's certainly having an impact on Connor Wong and his
100%. He can't move left or right. He's lunging for balls that he should be blocking, and he's moving his glove around. He's not getting calls that he should be getting.
The worst one was the one they hit him right off his knee guard, the knee part of his guard, and ricocheted off towards the Red Sox dugout the other day with a guy in third. He came in to score. So he's not good. But, again, at 20, 21 errors, those two guys aren't the biggest problem.
No. It's shortstop, second base, third base, first base. So, I mean, Duran was the worst defensive player on the team last year. No, I guess he wasn't. But one of them. But he's like your fifth or sixth worst defensive player right now.
Right.
And he's terrible. He's made a bunch of blunders. He's had a bunch of balls. They're not calling errors on him, but he's bobbling balls out there.
Baseball faux pas.
Yeah.
Mistakes that don't show up in the box score.
Yeah, he's done that quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know what to say, man. It's frustrating. So, but
I told you the last week or the week before, he's going to one of two places, New York or
we've talked about that every week.
Or the Dodgers.
Yeah, he's gone. He's checked out. There was a funny. I was listening to it on the radio, so I couldn't see it, but they were saying that I'm forgetting the bench coach's name right now. Vasquez is on the phone, and Cora just walked up to him and just grabbed the phone and hung it up. Like,
today.
Stop. Yeah, it's like, stop talking to him.
yeah.
So it's just like out of frustration, just like, we're done. Like, don't even bother.
That's right. He threw the towel in.
Yeah. It's gonna be a long season, man. Did you catch my betting podcast?
So I didn't watch the podcast. I looked at your wagers, and I faded you yesterday, 2 days ago. And you were good yesterday.
Yeah, I was. Hey, this guy Brent guy just signed in. You want to talk to him for a few?
Yeah, why not?
Hey guys,
Brent, what's up, man? How are you?
Sorry, man. I tried to make it the quickest I could get in.
No worries. We can chat for a few minutes.
Cool, man.
So we were just kind of running out of stuff to talk about, anyways. So we got Brent Porcio.
Yeah. Porcio.
And,
I'm from Louisiana. We're all French down here. So
Porcio. Okay.
French Creole.
Yeah,
French
you're
Creole.
right.
So Brent runs Top Velocity, which is what would you call it? Like a pitching mechanics.
Yeah,
facility.
it's player development. It's it's focused around pitching, but it's player development for all skills. But I'm just known more for pitching. So
Sure. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe address the you and Jeff Fry beef that's been going back and forth for about 2 weeks now, and we can ask you some questions.
Yeah, so I'll make it real quick. I developed this from out of my career. I tore my rotator cuff at 18 years old in my first college appearance. Doctors told me I wouldn't play again. This was 1995. There really wasn't much information, so I decided to try to figure it out. I didn't think I'd probably make it back, but I wound up actually making it back and playing indie ball. And I played indie ball out of California for a team called the San Diego Surf Dogs. I wound up playing in Europe, and I was 28 by the end of that, and I just didn't feel like I was going to have a major league career after what I went through. So I decided to become a coach, and then I started to take what I had developed and learned, which was really evidence-based. I was really looking for things outside of just opinion. I was looking for the science, and there was a big boom in 2000 of a lot of new evidence coming out, a lot of case studies, a lot of medical journals starting to push biomechanics and science-based information in baseball. And so I started to really soak it up and build my methodologies more out of that. And I developed Top Velocity, and about 17 years of doing this. I have taken hundreds of thousands of people through it. I've worked I've consulted for 2 teams, the Rays and the Dodgers. I've worked with players at all levels, major league players, all the way down to, little league, whatever. And really, my passion is evidence-based training. It's trying to get out of opinions and get into some peer, something that's been vindicated and or going through a scientific process, and not just based on someone's experience. And I think that's what leads into someone with Jeff Fry, and I totally respect these guys that have big league experience. To me, I'm trying to I'm trying to bring an evidence-based, a science-based side to this industry, and trying to join with these guys that have had great careers and have a lot of experience. It's just been really challenging. We have a pretty stubborn industry, and I think that's where the beef is with Jeff Fry. It's he's kind of the guy on that side of, it's players have the best perspective, and if you didn't get to my level, then doesn't matter what you've studied, what you've done, all that is irrelevant. And that bothers me. I don't think that's the best approach we need to have to kind of build the future players of this game,
Sure. So the thing that, and I believe I called you a dweeb on Twitter last week. So I appreciate you still coming on the podcast.
Just for the record, Brent, that's one of Jim's most better used words. I'm not saying it was used properly with you, but he uses that
term of endearment,
and he usually gets it right.
Yeah. So you posted a video of a kid who, what was he, 14, 15 years old?
I can't remember.
His name does.
Yeah, actually, that kid's from Mexico. He was 18.
Oh, he's 18. Okay, he looked younger. So I'm not gonna say his name. It doesn't matter what the kid's name is. But he was throwing using this trunk accelerator, which, if you're an old school baseball guy, it looks like a medieval torture device.
Yeah, it does.
And he was throwing hard. And your tweet was, hey, this guy was throwing 88, 89 when he came here, and now he's sitting 90. So I kind of just got a chuckle out of it because, okay, it's a mile an hour, and it looks like you're torturing the poor kid. And it looked to me like he was overthrowing.
Well, to be correct a little bit, he was throwing 78. Sure. He came to me over a year ago, and he was throwing 78, and he was 17, and he's a kid from Mexico. And you got to understand, the international players have a very different perspective of training than our American kids. If they don't do something by 17, 18, their careers are over. So those kids have a real sense of urgency due to their culture,
Okay, I totally get that. I guess what kind of set me off was when Fry reposted like, "Hey, like this is what's getting kids hurt," and then you retorted with, "Well, look at what the experts are saying. Look at what the data says. It's just not true." In my opinion, I don't really, and you can argue, but in my opinion, I don't really care what the data says because there's injuries. There's more injuries than there's ever been, and and pitchers aren't pitching. They're not. Their careers are shorter. They're going for multiple TJs. They're being baby with pitch counts, and they're not what they used to be. So the data, in my opinion, is what we see on TV every night, and that's the result. And I watch a ton of college baseball, Division I, Division II, and some Division III, and I watch as much Major League Baseball as I possibly can. So that's the data to me. That's what I see in front of me every day. But you basically said that that's not what's important. It's what these experts, these scientists say.
Yeah, well, man, so data is everywhere. You're right. But it's how we process data. It's how the analytical process, it's the statistical analysis. It's why AI is changing the world. It's because human observation is highly flawed. And that's why AI is a huge threat to humanity, because it's going to win, because human observation fails too much. So when we run mathematical algorithms and we use advanced computers to do it much faster than we can and at much better accuracy, we get better information and we make better decisions because the information typically holds up better over time because it's mathematically proven. So when we look at science, we're typically not just getting data, but we're getting a better process. Like we're getting a better calculation to find a better result of that data than just going off of someone's uneducated opinion. So that's where I'm coming from. It's like I see the advancements in society coming from a scientific process, not coming from just smarter people. So that can also be applied in baseball. And the problem is baseball's fighting that. We have yet to get to a place where, baseball has become conventional. I mean, science has become conventional wisdom. The conventional wisdom is still the old school coach going off of his anecdotal opinion. And that's why it's a struggle. It's because we haven't allowed the scientists to come in and have more of an effect. And it's like, give everybody a chance, and it's like, be a little bit more open-minded, because your side is already been doing this for hundreds of years. Let these new advancements come in and hear what they have to say. Because I guarantee you, they're only going to lift up a lot of the things that you felt were really true, but you're going to also learn there's a lot of things that you thought were true weren't true.
So tell me where I'm wrong here, okay? In this statement, 20 years ago, a complete game was a thing that happened fairly regularly. Pitchers' routines included long toss, lots of running, some light weightlifting, and a lot more running and more long tossing. And their arms were healthier. They were pitching 200 innings a year. We saw less injuries, less DL stints, or then DL, now IL stints. And, today they're not doing the long toss. They're not doing the running anymore, or they're doing much, much less of it. And they're doing more specialized things that it would appear, attaboy with the red wine, I like that. It would appear that they're doing things that are leading to injuries. So, how do you combat that when we saw for 100 years, we saw the success that pitchers were having with a very simple routine, And now as things get more complicated, we're seeing worse pitching. And I mean, sure, guys are throwing harder for sure, but they're not throwing harder for extended periods of time, and their careers are shorter. And they're basically like they're pitching to get to their Tommy John surgery so that they can sit out. I mean, Tyler Glasnow said it the other night. He said, "I'm going to throw 100%, and I know I'm going to have Tommy John surgery, and that's just
Again.
part of the game." Yeah, he said that's part of the game. I know I'm going to have Tommy John surgery. So tell me where I'm wrong there.
So he also said that he was chasing the radar. He considered himself a radar slut yesterday.
Yeah.
For me, I think that's it's not the right thing to be saying on national TV to a group of young kids who should be learning how to develop and throw strikes and work location. And then the last thing, the old days, Brent, when you and I were growing up and Jim were growing up, the velocity was the last thing to come. You learn how to pitch first. You learn how to throw your off-speed stuff with 2-0 counts, 3-1 counts, and throw for strikes. And then you learn how to develop velocity. And if you were good enough to develop enough velocity, then you would go to the next level. And now it's the vice versa. They're only drafting guys to throw 95 to 98 to 100. They're not worried about pitchability, and they don't worry about anything other than velocity. And before these guys even learn how to pitch, they're having Tommy John, a second Tommy John. They're having thoracic outlet syndrome. They're having all these problems with their throwing arm, and they can never say they're actually a pitcher. They're all throwers because all they do is throw hard. I mean, I could get a boomerang, put it in my backyard, and throw a ball 100 miles an hour. No one's gonna know where it's going. That's what these guys are, and I think that and whether it's you or any other person who's got a device that can help people, I think that the first thing that we all should be learning to do is learning how to teach our guys to throw strikes. And if the velocity shows up at some point, great. You move on in the game. Because like I said it earlier, my grandfather used to say, the world needs bartenders too. Not everybody's going to play pro baseball just because you throw hard. It does not mean you automatically go play pro baseball.
Yeah, but y'all got to understand, I know you do, that this is a business. And
well, it's a business for you or the kid who's 16 years old.
It's a business for everybody.
For baseball.
And believe me, I'm on the lower end of the business. I'm not in money. You don't make a lot of money as a trainer. You make a lot of money running leagues and showcases and professional organizations. You don't make a lot of money training kids. So we're on the lower end of the money. But it's a business, and in the business today, it's about making money, right? So what makes money is winning. And winning is having unique talent. And unique talent, unfortunately, with baseball comes with a price, not just on financially, but it comes with a player's health. And the problem is if you just tell kids to just learn how to pitch and play the game and the velocity will come, that's kind of that's a defeatist mindset. That'd be like telling a football player, just learn to play the game, and if it doesn't work out for you, it doesn't work out for you. And if, say, that kid's growing up in the inner city and he's like, dude, it's not about that. It's about, I got to get to the pro ball and make some money so I can get my family out of the hood.
Yeah, but you know what? No one's telling these kids what pro ball is like when they get there, right? Most kids flame out in the first 12 months of playing pro baseball. So, I would rather have my elbow intact for my whole life, learn how to pitch. These, and your name of your company is Top Velocity. In Boston, we have these places popping up all over the place, and everything is velo this, velo that. No one's saying control. Let's teach them how to pitch.
Because velocity is what gets you in the door, and it always will be what gets you in the door. You
Yeah.
can't demonize one of the biggest commodities in the game and think you're going to win. I mean, you can't it's like you could go to the NFL and tell people they shouldn't try to run fast. I mean, it would never work.
Right,
You
but those guys aren't
convince-
blowing out their knees because
well,
they're
they're
running fast.
getting concussions because they're running too fast and they're hitting
But
guys too hard.
but that's a choice that they're making to do, right? And so these kids are chasing the velo, the pie in the sky, not knowing what a Tommy John surgery or a UCL tear or a thoracic outlet surgery is going to do to their body down the road.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I agree with you on that. I think there needs to be more lawsuits from parents against these administrators of leagues and of trainers that are pushing them into these injuries. I think there needs to be class action lawsuits because not many guys that I know that do what I do and have a master's in kinesiology and a PhD in health science, like I'm doing the best I can to be an educator, not just a coach and not just a salesman. Because you're right, there's kids here. And unfortunately, I think the reason there needs to be lawsuits is because there's too many unqualified people pushing these kids too hard. They don't have advanced degrees. They don't have certifications in this, so they don't understand how the body works and how it fails. And because of that, they can't properly inform the parent on what they're subjecting their kids to. And if you've taken any liability classes on protecting yourself as a coach, you have to have an expert on staff. You have to have informed consent, and none of this is happening. And I just think it's crazy people attack me when I'm the one who has all that in place. I inform them of the risks. I have my business partners at Dr. Chiropractics as well. We have extremely advanced degrees. We're constantly promoting how this works scientifically and the risks behind it and how to avoid the risks. And the problem is 90% of the industry is not like this. And it's a wild west because there's no regulatory system creating these standards. And that's why where we are on this is just on the training side. This is not on the playing side. The playing side is a whole different beast. And these leagues are playing these kids all year round. Pitch counts don't work because kids you tell one kid to throw 30 pitches, another kid to throw 30 pitches. One kid can't pick his arm up tomorrow. He goes 30 pitches, another kid's fine. Pitch counts don't work. You have to have better monitoring systems to assess when a player's fatiguing because that's the highest correlation to injury. So if we can assess that and we know they're in fatigue, we don't put them on the field. And this needs to be done at all levels and the lower level. The surprising thing is they don't even do it at the big league. I mean, they barely do it at the big league level. And so we're not holding up these standards and two, because it's too much money and you can't, the wrong thing to do is to demonize the variable that drives the business that also drives the injury, which is velocity. Demonizing that is just going to destroy the game. We've got to just bring in better standards so we can survive what this game is. And the game is a game of speed,
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only argument would be I think the game was better 20 years ago. I'd rather, as a baseball fan watching the game, I'd rather watch Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez throw a complete game and still sit 95 miles an hour, by the way, in the eighth inning. And those guys, there was tons of them around. That doesn't exist anymore. There's no such thing as a pitcher like that. So just from the MLB fan perspective of that, that's gone, and it's because we're starting these kids at a young age with pitch counts, not long tossing, and we're focusing on velocity, not pitching and control. So in my opinion, I'd throw you all out and just go back where we're going to long toss, we're going to run, and that's it.
The problem is you're going to do that in our culture And then the international cultures aren't going to do that. And they're more incentivized to do, and it meets the demands or the achieve the,
But the number of jobs hasn't gone up. The number of jobs in professional baseball hasn't gone up.
Gone down.
Yeah. So it's actually gone down. So it's not like it's not like if everybody wasn't chasing velocity, it's not like there's more, there's still the same amount of jobs. So they're going to get there eventually. The cream's going to rise to the top, when they're 18, 19, 20 years old.
The problem is the cream is coming from, it's being outsourced. The cream is rising more internationally than in America. We're now, the most we've always been 48% of the Major League Baseball has been international. Eventually it's going to be 60%. So answer that question. Why is international starting to consume all the roster spots in the MLB?
Because the MLB has invested shitloads of money in building camps in the Dominican Republic for many years now.
Well, the main reason is because they can get them cheap for the majority of them.
Right.
And the American players, or the North American players, they can't sign until they're graduated high school. These kids are signing at 15 and 16 years old. Some of these kids are signing at 15 and 16. Granted, you got to be 16 to go on, but they sign at 16. They go play for 3 years with the DSL Rockies. They get washed out. They go to a camp back in Cuba or Dominican or somewhere, and they take their sister's first name and their mother's maiden name, and they sign a new contract as somebody else, and they start all over again with the DSL Diamondbacks, and they assume a different name, and then someone says, "Oh shit, this kid's only 17. He looks like he plays like he's been a pro for 4 years." Well, he actually has played pro baseball for 4 years, and the American kid is still in college.
Right, because the American kid has been sold a bill of goods that college is the better way to pro ball. It's not true. It's why Vladimir Guerrero Sr. raised his kids in the Dominican Republic.
But he also had the ability to do that. He had massive amounts of funds.
Yeah. I get it, but why would he do that? Why wouldn't he raise his kids in America?
Why would he? Why he raised them in the Dominican, right?
Yeah, but why would he not raise them in America?
Well, because he'd have to go to American schools and go through the process that way.
Right, which is a disadvantage in baseball.
Oh, it's a huge disadvantage. I'm not disagreeing with you there. But
the point is why are we? But the point is we're losing. So taking a mindset of telling young kids in our culture to play all year long and just focus on command we're just going to keep losing. Because what's happening over there, like you said, 15, 16, the kids are throwing harder and they're signing cheaper for these teams. So how are we going to beat that? We're not going to beat that by sitting back and working on command.
No.
We shouldn't have to beat it though. We should. The people that are signing these kids out of the Dominican, they should do their job too, and scout talent here. Like, it's so frustrating. I'm so angry when I think.
But they're not going to. But they're Latinos. They don't care about us.
So
all the scouts over there are Latinos.
Every team's got an academy in the Dominican. Every team.
Yep.
Right, because they don't play travel ball over there. They just train in academies, and they train for velocity and power and speed.
Correct. And then it takes them 3 to 4 years to become Americanized with the American game once they get here.
Yeah, they actually have to learn how to play baseball when they get signed.
That's correct.
So we're doing it backwards. We're making them learn the game and overplay in hopes that their athletic skills show up. That's the complete opposite of how the Latinos do it.
Yeah, but see, the difference is that there's a culture in place here in the United States, in North America, right, where we're not trying to get off the island. The only way those kids get off the island is
but we're turning ourselves into spectators. We're not going to be the players anymore.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. This is why I wanted to talk to you. The kid you had on the kid from Mexico, 17, 18-year-old kid. How tall was he?
Yeah, I mean, he's Mexican. They're not that tall. I mean, some are, but he's like 5'10", 5'9", you know?
Okay, so that's exactly what I thought he was, 5'8", 5'9", and we're trying to get that kid to throw 100 miles an hour. His body cannot handle that. And whether it's you told him, I'll get you to 95, which will get you signed, or whether you did that or you didn't that. I don't know, and I don't, but that's what's going on around this country. Is I will add you 7 to 10 miles an hour, whether your body can handle it or not. I'll get a friend of mine to sign you.
That is happening, but not in my facility.
I'm not saying
that trunk accelerator takes their arm out of the equation.
I'm not saying you did, by the way. I'm not saying that, but it's happening everywhere, and that's the point I'm trying to make with this. They're chasing the wrong thing.
Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. There's a ton of bad camps out there that are not teaching kids the biomechanical principles of health. They're just pushing them and ramping them to get as fast as they can. And it's reckless because they're not teaching them optimal movements that reduce stress and distribute loads and training them to be strong and healthy to handle the torques and forces. 100%. That's all not happening. But to be honest, don't even blame those guys. Those guys are like the drug dealers. You got to blame. Yeah, you got to blame who's making the drugs popular and why are the drugs so popular? And they're popular because they change the dynamics of the game. So we got to go to the very top. So if you want to go back to the old pitchers were playing under very different standards. And the standards were you're going to come in as a starter and you're going to throw 7 innings, 9 at best. And then if we need to bring in a relief pitcher, we'll bring in a relief pitcher. And then eventually it was like, you know what, these relief pitchers can really help. We'll create a closer. And this was like late 70s, right?
Yeah.
Now we'll bring in a closer, and we didn't even record a save. It wasn't even a recorded metric because it was such a new role in the 70s going into the 80s. So you literally, now the game is changing the athlete. Now what's happening is they bring in this relief pitcher. The starter doesn't feel the pressure to go the whole time. So now he knows he might throw less innings. And when they can throw less innings, they're burning less energy. They're putting less wear and tear over time so they can push it a little harder. And then this just gets worse. Then they're like, wow.
Couldn't you argue, real quick, couldn't you argue that by pitching less innings, you're just becoming a weaker pitcher so that, when you do get to the playoffs or when they do need you to pitch more innings, you can't do it. Your body can't do it.
Well,
so we're creating weaker pitchers.
But you're not. It's not weakness. It's an energy production. You're changing how the body is run. The body, when the body's going for more aerobic endurance, it goes at lower intensities so it can last longer. That's how the body has to reorganize itself. Like look at a cross-country runner or sprinter. A cross-country runner is thin because it doesn't need muscle mass or as much muscle mass as a sprinter, because a sprinter needs more force. The cross-country runner needs more energy. It needs muscles that can run more efficiently, and that typically is muscles that aren't as big and bulky. So the point is like the old school pitchers were just cross-country runners. Now these new school pitchers are sprinters because you cut their innings down. The more, when you told the starter you're not going to go 3 times through the lineup, so now you're a 5-inning guy. And then you're going to bring in these 1-2 inning middle relief guys and then the closer. Now all these pitchers are throwing under short, reps. They're not throwing as often. So now they can build themselves into be sprinters. And they can throw harder. And then there's a benefit to that because statistically, if you look at the 97 mile an hour fastball to the 94, it gets hit less, and it gets hit less in the middle of the zone. If you look at the 103 mile an hour fastball today, in Major League Baseball, the 103 mile an hour fastball has never recorded an extra base hit. No one has taken a 103 mile an hour fastball yet past first base. So this is what's happening. These organizations are seeing that the fastball is still a commodity. It's a very powerful commodity because the harder it goes, the less it's hit. The whiff rates go up.
Right, but therein lies, and what else goes up is the Tommy John rates and the walk rates.
But the organizations don't care because
that's the problem. That is the problem.
Because Major League baseball participation is the highest it's ever been. So they have cattle just coming through in droves. So they don't care about health. I worked for the Dodgers, and I'm probably not supposed to say this, but that administration didn't care if they were injuring guys.
That's how Tampa Bay is too. Yeah.
Right. So the point is like they're running these organizations like fantasy baseball. They're not developmental organizations. If they were, they wouldn't be playing the freaking 100 games a year. These are just play, trade, buy organizations. They're not developmental organizations like college baseball is.
Right.
So basically,
well, that's the problem. That's also a problem, Jim.
we could both agree. We could all agree then that Major League Baseball and the front offices are actually the enemy, and what you're
they created all this.
Yeah, they've created it, and what you're doing is adapting to what they're looking for, and what
100%.
we're looking for is let's go back to the old way because I think it was more fun to watch that game.
Yeah, so take that heat to the organizations, not to us. We're player first. Organizations are not player first. We are player first organizations, meaning the player walks through our door and we say, what can we do for you? And they all look at us and go, every scout I talk to says I don't throw hard. And you know what I do? I go, okay, I'm going to teach you how to throw hard, and I'm going to teach you how to do it healthy so it doesn't blow you out. And then once you start throwing hard, I'm going to have to teach you how to pitch. If you can't pitch, yeah, there's a laundry list. But the problem is I'm in a position to meet the demands of the player. An organization is in a position to meet the demands of the fan or of the league, or to win in the league. It's not the player. So we're the ones supposed to be the ones protecting the player. They're the ones just protecting the fan.
Yeah, I understand that for sure.
So does your contraption, the trunk what is it?
Trunk accelerator. I'm trying to teach them to accelerate their trunk and not their arm. That's where everything goes wrong. That's why I was against all the weighted ball training since day one. I'm against extreme throwing, running guns. You got to take the arm out because the arm is getting trashed. So you got to teach them to use other parts of their body, their trunk, their legs, their hips. So I build devices and I had training methods to train them to use the other parts of their body.
So do you have colleges and universities that use your device, and do Major League Baseball organizations use your device?
Well, I did that one. That one I created like literally 2 months ago. So I haven't gotten there yet, but like the King of the Hill device, me and another guy developed. Those are in every major league organization, pretty much. I think only 2 organizations don't have it. Pretty much the King of the Hill is in every division, close to every Division I organization. Yeah, they're all over. I mean, my methods are probably, I'd say, I don't know. I'm guessing 35% of baseball knows my methods. I've been around long enough and I have enough following to maybe make that prediction. But it doesn't mean they know what I do. Like, I always say my method's a school. Like, I developed this over 17 years. Like, there's so much to learn. The problem, these kids don't have enough time, and they're in FOMO, fear of missing out. They're constantly in FOMO. And you can't get them to calm down and take some time and learn it because they think they got to play here and then go here and do this and achieve this. It's nuts.
Right.
Yeah. We could talk about travel ball for hours. Derek's one of those bad guys that has a travel ball organization.
I have a travel ball organization. 13 years. We've had one guy at Tommy John in 13 years.
Good.
And he's with the Brewers. It didn't happen until he got to the Brewers. Okay.
If you want to do the right thing as a travel ball organization, you have to promote off-season development, and then therefore you can have in-season maintenance training. And the problem is these travel organizations aren't promoting much development, and that's the issue.
So are you telling your kids to rest?
100%.
To take 2 months off?
I'm more than that. I'm saying 4. I'm a 4-month off every year guy.
So okay, I'm glad you hear that. We put in Boston where we are. The weather's great in the fall. We play in the fall, and we turned it down. We shut it down October 15th, and we don't pick a baseball up again until February 15th. And no glove. We shut the facility down. Don't work out. No baseball. No nothing. You want to come in and lift? You can lift, but no baseball. I don't want you doing. Go play basketball. Go play hockey.
Run.
Mm-hmm.
Go do something else. Run. Go do winter track. We get a couple pitchers that throw the javelin. They say it's unbelievable for their arm. And pick the baseball up 4 months, almost 4 months later. Sometimes kids get itchy around Christmas time. They want to start throwing. And don't pick the baseball up until we tell you to, because you need.
Right. Well, But you got to go farther than that, because the reason they want to throw, because they don't know what else to do. So
Well, because they have friends throwing in other programs.
Because they all don't know what to do. They don't know
what
to do. They think throwing is the only way to practice their skill.
Correct.
And you got to show them there's all these other things you can do with your body. You can do mobility training. You can do strength conditioning. You can do dry drill work. You can study biomechanics. You can get a good eye at picking up movements and out of a pitching delivery, a throwing delivery, a hitting delivery. You can do all this stuff without throwing a baseball, and your baseball IQ is going up, and your ability to apply these movements and improve your skill goes up too, without you even throwing.
You have to be able to self-correct as a player, so you got to know your craft a little bit. And the kids that know what they're doing on the mound, whether they throw 100 or 82, the kids that know how to make the self-corrections in between an at-bat or in between innings in the dugout, those are the kids that are successful because they're students of the game. The kid who throws 95, we had a first-round draft pick last year. He throws 98. He's with the Marlins. I mean, he was a student of the game. He only threw like 50 innings last year before the draft. He's, he was very well versed on his mechanics. I've never seen a kid stretch more than he did before a game. He did more stretching on days he wasn't pitching than days he was pitching. And so those are the guys that are really care about their craft.
Well, because they have to. He's throwing hard enough to destroy his arm. So if he doesn't know how to take care of his body and prep his body and move his body well, then that 98 isn't going to last long.
Correct.
I like that.
But here's the thing. Going back to Jeff Fry, I just think the problem is these big leaguers that have all this great influence in education, they need to open up to people that have an educational background that can help take their knowledge and open it up to a mass group of people. Because you can't take someone's personal experience and deliver it to a mass group of people and it really work. So you get the educators in there.
Yeah. So if I could just address that, I guess. So from his side of it, on Twitter, you could possibly come off as one of these facilities that's doing the running guns and the weighted balls and doing all the things wrong. And after this conversation, I think you're mostly doing the right thing. And I throw you all in the ocean if I could, but it seems like you actually give a shit and you're teaching kids to do the right things to be healthy, which is good. So, but on Twitter, there's so many of you who are not doing that. They're doing the wrong thing. So I think Jeff is defending the game from those people. And, maybe a conversation with Jeff, on the side, you two could, come to some
100%. I'd love to.
And then the other thing too, that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm pretty sure it rubbed him the wrong way too, was, he says, hey, we're the professionals. We know what we're doing. And then you come back and say, well, we're the professionals. We know what we're doing. And it's like the only, I guess, now that I've heard your whole thing, I don't believe this, but my thought the other day was, in what other field is reaching the top, being like, the best brain surgeon or the best lawyer, when is that not the expert? Like, that's the expert in every field. When you reach the top, you are the expert, not the guy who's studied it for a really long time.
No, but that's not correct. I mean, the brain surgeon and the lawyer had to go through an educational system to get there.
Well, they did, yeah. But would you rather have brain surgery from somebody that's done 300 brain surgeries or someone that's read about brain surgeries?
But the point is the guy had to read about brain surgery to do 300. So the problem is in our skill. You don't have to understand this well, and you can still get to the top of the game, but you can't get to the top of the educational side of it, because there's a whole institutional educational side of baseball. So I understand what you're saying, but I can play the same card where it's like, you don't go to doctors because they've had cancer like you. You go to doctor because they studied cancer. It's like, I get it. But the point is that this is exactly where this is where we come together. I'm not saying I'm better than Jeff. I'm just saying if I need to be able to unite with Jeff for both of us to really help. And that's the problem with Jeff, is like, he just wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater. He doesn't want to go through the riffraff and find the one that he can connect with and work together with. That's the problem.
Yeah, the big thing is that everybody calls himself a professional these days.
100%. I get it. So
yeah, there's 1,000 of you on Twitter, and they're all doing that.
No one's putting masters and PhD on there. I'm telling you, you can't find them that are doing that. So I should be seen differently because of my advanced degrees.
Yeah, but in fairness too, I mean, you look at a guy like our favorite guy, Teacherman, and he's got 17 different fucking initials after his name, and they all mean absolutely nothing. And yes, we know that PhD means something, but there's a lot of people that are on Twitter that may not be telling the truth about their actual degrees too. So
I'm not criticizing for that. I understand it, and that's why I'm on your show, because you and I were talking shit to each other.
Yeah,
and I know how Twitter works. It's a cesspool. I mean, but
it is.
But it's entertaining. But then
it's fun.
At the end of the day, I'd like to look someone in the face and see where we really are, And now I realize you and I are pretty much on the same size. We just have different experience here,
Yeah. Yeah, I just, I'm a catcher, so Derek's the pitcher. But
yeah.
Let's talk about one knee down catching.
No, not anymore. No more.
Yeah. So okay.
But the thing is too, like, because I stand behind my degrees, because that's where I've spent my last 20 years. I still played these games. I was 28 years old, and I played it on an indie ball level. I played it at a European level. I played it in a college level, on a high school level. I tore my rotator. I'm a player too, guys. There is a ton of them out there that weren't even players. And to be honest, I'm more on Jeff's side with those guys. I don't know how they truly understand it. They've never even played it at a competitive level.
Yeah, that's wild. And that's like Teacherman, who got one at bat in Division III or something, and he's like the foremost expert on hitting. Well, I did like your video today. That was pretty funny with the water bottle. I was actually kind of laughing my ass off. And for a second, I thought it was serious, and I was like, "Oh my god, this fucking guy's gonna break out the water bags." And then I was like, "Oh, okay, he's making fun of it."
Well,
so
dude,
that was.
Well, I mean, look, this industry, unfortunately, it's probably every industry. This industry doesn't have a high educational, high IQ level, so it's really hard to teach them probably the most advanced skill in the world. I always hear it. People are like, hitting 100-mile-an-hour fastball is the hardest skill in the world. I argue that. I believe throwing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball is way harder.
Well, you just said that no one's hit a ball that 103 miles an hour for an extra base hit. I think that's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, you can accidentally hit a ball, I suppose.
Yeah, but how many guys can make contact with 103? But how many guys could actually generate a 103-mile-an-hour fastball? I don't know. I would like to see that study.
I'm not sold on the 103 ever really happening in the last since I don't know. It's been a while. I think these guns are all jacked up. To prove a point and to keep people's interest and to say that the game's growing. But there's a lot of guys that throw hard. How many guys throw 103 in the world? You could probably count them on two hands.
Right, but that's my argument. I don't think there's many of them.
And how many of them throw strikes? 1, 2?
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, is it really about? I mean, if you want to go that argument, is it really about throwing strikes? It's about deceiving the hitter, And if obviously you got to get a strike, but a strike doesn't mean in the strike zone,
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, good hitters will never chase out of the zone if it's not in the zone.
But they do it all the time. I mean, they do it all the time, I understand the fact that you got to be a pitcher. I mean, and there's a ton of kids that they are obsessed about just proving themselves to be able to play at that level. And to them, that means they throw hard, but they never really had the intention to pitch or compete. They just wanted to prove they could be there. They really didn't want to prove that they could actually be legitimate at that level. And I think that's a higher percentage of those that are actually just really good players at that level. But don't put that on us. Like, these are the kids come in and we are helping them in their desires. And a lot of these kids' desires is just, I just want to prove I can get there. And you're right. It falls short-sighted of really what it takes to be able to call yourself a professional and actually make a career out of it,
So let me ask you this. When you were growing up, and obviously you played in a hotbed of baseball. Are you from Louisiana originally?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here.
So obviously it's a hotbed of baseball, high school baseball. How many guys did you play with or against in high school that never went on to play pro ball, and you say, I can't understand why that kid did not go on to play pro baseball? He was unbelievable. They're all over the place, right?
Well, I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, I think in Louisiana, I don't know. We're from different locations. In the South, people are poor, so people, if they have the ability, they more than likely know that might be their only chance to make money. So that's a good study. You might find more people maybe up north are more like they take their talents for granted. You don't see that a lot in the South.
No,
People
my
take
point is that like guys get passed over all the time because they weren't seen in their best day. Scouts saw him a second time. He was good, not great. Doesn't turn him in. Third time he sees him, he goes 0 for 4, and he doesn't come and see him a fourth time. That happens a lot, but that doesn't mean that kid wasn't good enough to play pro baseball. My point is, the kid from Mexico who's 5'8.5", 5'9", 18 years old, and throwing 78, the industry is selling that kid a bill of goods. I'll get you to 95, and I'll get you to pro baseball. When, in all honesty, that kid never had a shot to play pro baseball.
Yeah, but in Mexico, you can play in lower levels, and and a lot of these. That's a good point. But a lot of these kids, they're aspiring for the highest level, and they're going to just fall short. And the best thing about baseball is we have many opportunities to where they can still have a great experience, and they can play it as long as they want. I mean, man, we've got the Roy Hobbs leagues down in Florida. They have a World Series of 75-year-olds, 75, or maybe it's like 80 to 75. And they said, I talked to the other day, they had like a dozen teams of players 75 years old and up.
I believe it.
So, I mean, the point is, this is a great game because there's so much opportunity. It's ridiculous. But only a few can get to the top. But on the lower levels, there's so much opportunity. To be honest, I think that's a negative when you're young coming up because too much opportunity doesn't incentivize you to go higher. But that's the one thing. If I can't get a kid to where he wants to go, I know he's going to fall somewhere else. And I guarantee you that's a better place than where he would have gone if he didn't do the work.
Yeah, maybe he'll get an education. Because he can throw.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, right. I mean, at the end of the day, like right now you can go into Europe. I played in Europe. You can go into Europe and you can play, and it probably plays at a D2, D1 barely college level, and you can play pro ball all through Europe doing that.
Yeah, but saying you're a pro baseball player is a lot easier to do nowadays because of places like that where it's Europe or where,
or Asia, Taiwan, China is.
A lot of guys play in Italy.
Yeah, Italy, Germany's got a pro league now.
Israel.
So, if you want to consider yourself a pro baseball player, I'll find your league to go play in so you can put on your resume.
100% you can play. And you got like low-level indie ball here, like the Pecos League. I mean, they barely pay you, but it's an indie ball league. I mean,
yeah.
The point is every kid, if you watch my training, there's only a few in there that I think might have a chance to play affiliated ball. Majority of those guys in there, I'm trying to get them into college, low-level college. I'm trying to get them into maybe indie ball. That's really where I am, and I think that's a great thing because you guys love this game. These kids actually love this game, and they don't see themselves doing anything else. And all they want is hope. Anybody in this world just wants hope, Yeah. And I don't tell these guys they're going to the big leagues. Not at all. I actually tell them the opposite. They all hate me because I tell them you're not even close to where you would have to be because I actually have metrics. I have a metric system. So when I measure them weekly or bi-week, every month, I show them. I was like, you're not even close. Look, big league guys are up here. You're not even close. I do that to them 24/7.
Yeah.
Good.
So, our model with our travel program, my partner is a dentist by trade. So we've had that program for almost 13 years. So our motto is we worry about the next 40 years and not the next 4 years, right? So get you to college, get your education. Right. When you get to the next level, and if the guy at BC can train you to get you to enough to play pro baseball, then great. You get a degree, go play a minor league baseball for a little bit, and maybe you get lucky. because we all know luck's involved in the minor league system, regardless of how good you are. But you gotta worry about college first for the majority of these kids, and so it is what it is, and I think that for a lot of these guys, programs wide, you don't have a travel program though, you just have it. So
It's training.
yeah, a lot of these guys they have these travel programs, and they say, well, if you leave this program, you come over here, and we'll add you 8 to 10 miles an hour, and we'll get you a D1 scholarship. When this kid has no shot to play Division I college baseball, my trained eye will tell you so. And if I thought there was even an inclination that you could play college baseball at that level, I would tell you. But I would also tell you what the work needs to be done to do it, and not just say, hey, come with me, and I'll you're a D1 player. That's not how it works.
Exactly. And to be honest, I wish Jeff Fry he was more precise on who he went after. I think, and that's what's frustrating about me, man. If you're really good at targeting people that are scamming and taking advantage of the industry, you're going to be a hero. The problem, he's reckless, and he creates a lot of collateral damage of people that are actually trying to do like him and improve the industry. And that's the problem with Jeff Fry. The guy needs to get a little bit more focused on hitting the right people or hitting the wrong people, the ones that are doing the damage. His collateral damage is his problem.
So he hit a home run with this teacher man when this whole thing first started, and I think that just laid the groundwork for him to be able to hit on anybody he wanted to and not have to worry about repercussions.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, I know he's going to keep coming at me, and I get it, but I'm not going to let go of that dude. Like, if he's not going to respect me, I'm not going to respect him. I mean, at the end of the day, I'll sit down and have a beer with him. Like, I'm down here in the South, man, we want to like talk face to face. We're not like, we don't hide, but it's like, we also want to be respected. We don't want to be disrespected. So it's like, with him, like, I really wish I could just sit down and talk to him. I invited him to my facility. I said, dude, would you please come to my facility and come to this camp and watch what I do? And he didn't even respond.
Yeah, you invited me down too.
So
yeah, both of you guys, y'all are.
Yeah, I can't hop down to Louisiana. I got three little kids.
My son was committed to LSU to play baseball. I've been to LSU. I've been to football game down there. It's a great place. I've umpired baseball games down there a while ago. So I mean, I love Baton Rouge and the whole area. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's got a great spirit. So.
Tell me where the key is, and you just might see me down there. So
no, please, guys. I just want both of you. I mean, I have an open door policy, so come down. Yeah. I'll give you the full tour, and we'll do everything. So.
All right, that sounds awesome. We've been going pretty long. I wouldn't mind doing this not next week, but because we're a Red Sox podcast, believe it or not.
Great team.
But I wouldn't mind doing this.
Mills, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't mind doing this in a few weeks and maybe having Jeff come on and having a conversation. Because he'll definitely come on. And I do think that he'll hear some things that he'll say, okay, maybe I was a little bit in the wrong. I do think the gadgets set him off, and they set me off too. If I see gadgets, I'm just kind of like, all right, like I don't.
Yeah, I get that. I didn't like gadgets initially. The only reason I went into that is because I've grown influence, and I can't personally coach people. So I need to give them tools, because people email me, contact me all the time. How do I understand this? And it's like, I'm just trying to constantly help them get into better places. And that's why I did that. So
cool. All right, man. Hey, listen, it was good to hash it out and to have the conversation. I learned a lot, actually. And
same here, man.
I'm glad you came on. I appreciate it. So maybe we can set it up in a couple of weeks and get Frito on. And I think that'd be fun.
So, and if not, if he can't come on, just have Brent come on and talk about his trunk.
Yeah, man. Whatever y'all want. Hey, I love what y'all do. I love the game. I like to support the game. So whatever y'all want, just reach out to me. Obviously I'm going to try to get to it when if it's late, I got to work around the family, but I'll do my best to jump in.
Cool, man.
Good to talk to you.
We'll talk to you. Thank you.
Good.
See ya.
Well, that was good. That was good. Seems like a nice guy.
Good guy.
I might have had him a little wrong on Twitter, so
well, listen, it's first of all, it's tough to pick up.
It's tough. Right? It is tough. Yeah,
it's tough to weed out bullshit on Twitter or on anything on the internet. But but when you put a face to a name and a voice to a name, and you can hear someone's side of things, it's you develop maybe a little
An
more
understanding.
educated opinion. And I
Yeah.
think Jeff would say the same thing. And and also he might think more of Jeff afterwards too. So
Oh, I absolutely think so. So he seems like a nice guy. Was there anything that you took from that you liked or didn't like, or?
yeah, well, the whole I'm not sold on every kid's trying to get to the big leagues, right? Because that's the end goal. And I was drafted twice, and I never once thought about being a big leaguer until I got drafted the first time. So it's a hard journey, man. And go to college, learn how to pitch, learn how to hit, learn how to become a full, well-rounded baseball player. And if you're good enough, they'll find you, right? So don't rush yourself to get to pro ball just to be washed out in 18 months.
Yeah, so and I totally agree. But from his perspective, you're not going to get seen. You're not going to get that D1 scholarship if you're not throwing hard. So,
I don't buy that. That's not true. I don't buy that. I deal with that almost on a daily basis, Jimmy.
Okay.
And you do not have to throw 92, 94 miles an hour to get a Division I scholarship. But if you throw 86 to 89 and you can spot up and you can pitch, I'll find you 30 schools in a week that'll offer you at a minimum 50% baseball scholarship. I promise you. These guys are looking for. Look at these scores. I got the Oklahoma and BYU game on.
Like 1,000
right
to
now.
900.
Yeah, it's this. So these are the two Friday night guys on Thursday night, right? And the score is it's 8-5 in the 8th inning.
Yeah, that's a low scoring college game.
And this is a low score.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that these guys are chasing velocity, and you can't tell me these guys are chasing guys that throw strikes and know how to get guys out. They're all chasing velocity. And this is what happens. Guys can turn velocity around. Guys can't turn around devastating changeups or, cutters that really bite or split finger fastballs that drop off the map at the last second. Guys will catch up to 103-mile-an-hour fastballs eventually. I guarantee it.
So I guess the issue that we had initially with Brent was he's not a pitching coach. He's literally teaching what the kids are asking for when they walk through the door, which is velocity.
Well, but he could also. Well, the name of his company is Top Velocity.
Yeah. Well, that's his business, and that's what the kids are coming through the door asking for. So everyone's going to make money some way in this country, and if there's people willing to pay for it, asalu, do your thing, I guess. I'd throw them all in the ocean and have my kids long tossing and running and throwing complete games. So
I wanted to tell him. I told you last week that Roger Clemens said, "Yeah, first innings, 6 innings, you pitch with your arm, and the last 3 innings you pitch with your legs."
Yep. Yeah. When he was saying, he was talking about teaching the kids like the sprinters. I'm like, yeah, just run, keep running. Don't stop running.
Right. Don't be exhausted after 20 pitches.
Yeah.
You can't get your breath because the pitch clock's going to go off and it's first and second with nobody else because you can't throw strikes.
Yeah. So, but I think this will self-correct over time.
Yeah.
I do think that, 5 years from now, we'll be talking about, hey, look at this pitcher that's, throwing 92, but he's got like you said, a devastating changeup, or we'll see some knuckleballers come back into baseball, stuff like that. It'll correct, but we need the top to correct itself first, which is Major League Baseball.
My son will tell you, give me the 98 all day long. The guy who throws 89 and can spin it and can turn it over.
Yeah.
Give me the day off.
Yeah, I'd rather hit 100 than a fucking slider. I hate sliders.
The changeup's the worst pitch of all because if a good changeup will get you out nine times out of 10, and then the one time he's going to hang it, and that's when you're going to hit it. But good changeup, guys with good changeups and throw it for strikes or start in the zone.
That's what I tell high school pitchers is you can get through high school with 2 pitches, fastball, changeup. That's all you need.
Yeah, if you throw strikes. So
yep. Yeah. So, all right, man, we've been going for a really long time. That was great, though. I'm glad he came on. And we've had quite a few live viewers, and
Good.
people commenting and stuff. So,
Where
yeah,
can I find that?
on YouTube. So,
On YouTube,
well,
okay.
once we're not live, you can't see like the live viewers anymore.
No, but I can see
Yeah,
comments.
but
and stuff,
we've
right?
even still like here at the very end, we've got 69 people watching this.
Beautiful.
So and it was up like 190 at one point, something like that. So
Great.
yeah, we're doing good. We're growing slowly. We're having fun.
I'm
So,
having
I
fun.
like it. Yeah, I'm having a blast. This is great. I could talk about baseball all fucking day. And
So next Thursday we'll drink some tequila, and then on episode 11 we'll have a tequila sponsor.
that'd be great. We need sponsors, man. We gotta start. We gotta do our own homework for that though.
It's okay. We can.
So we don't.
Listen, it's product.
I already emailed the marketing department. They I didn't get a response.
It's all about product placement. We'll get a couple products placed in our videos here, and the sky will be the limit.
Yeah. Oh, well, can we do my nicotine pouches so I can get a sponsor and maybe get like a few
Rogue.
free? Yeah, Rogue. Get a few free tins or something. That'd be great.
You're not a Zyn guy?
Oh God, no! They're so chemically. I don't like. It tastes like chemicals. The Rogues they're cheaper and they're like really minty. I dig it. So I haven't put a dip in like 4 months now. Although I do the Red Man when I play baseball, but
That's different.
I went through like a whole pouch last night. I was so cold. I just needed something to, like occupy me. It was so fucking cold last night. So all right, man. Hey, that was fun. We'll do it again next
talk
week.
to you soon.
Talk to you, buddy.
See ya.